So it takes a lot of willpower to open up your DAW and start writing that new song from scratch. But what's even more daunting is to have this blank canvas in front of you with nothing on it, and you somehow have to turn this nothing into a full-fledged song. So I wanted to make this video because I want to show you something that you should absolutely do before writing your next song, and that is to make a template. And so I'm going to show you how to do exactly that and what I use for my template that helps me hit the ground running much faster when writing a song. So let's open up my DAW here. So I use Studio One, but you can use whatever DAW that you want. It'll work just fine. So for Studio One, I have a template here already set up, but if you're watching this, you probably don't have one, so just open up a new song. And so when we go to this, it's going to load up a lot of the presets that I've put in and virtual instruments, and so I'll talk about those as soon as it loads, but this whole process just makes the whole writing process just so much easier. Okay, so now that we are loaded, you can see on here I have a bunch of tracks already loaded. You don't need as many tracks as I do, but just think about what you typically put in a song, and then those are kind of the tracks that you want to have preloaded. So for me, I know I'm going to have guitars, I know I'm going to have keyboards, synths, I'm going to have vocals, bass, drums, and then I just have a collection of samples. So whatever you feel like you're going to use in your song, just have that already loaded. So add those tracks in, all right? So add however many tracks you feel like you need to start a song. It might be less than this, it may be more than this, but don't make it too much, otherwise it'll be overwhelming for you. So I just have 20 here, and that's a pretty good starting point for me. So once you do that, then you'll want to color code. I know before I started doing a template, everything would be the same color, and it would be an absolute nightmare to work with when I wanted to figure out where a certain sound was. So I just use a good old Roy G. Biv color scheme. So my guitars are red, keys and synths are orange, vocals yellow, bass green, you all can see what colors they are. Anyway, that's how I kind of go through things on here, just to keep things a little bit more organized. And then for a lot of the tracks, I will already load whatever VST that I need to get them up and running really fast. So for example, for the guitar, I already have my VST that I use for my guitar, which is Archetype Nolly, which is absolutely essential if you play guitar and record directly. All right, so I have that for my guitars. For my keys, I always have a instance of either Addictive Keys, or I might even have Native Instruments. One of their ones that I like is called The Giant, which is a really good piano sound as well. But either way, I have a key there. And then for synth, I have Serum, because that's one of the ones that I use a lot or have been using a lot lately. So again, you're just putting whatever track that you have, you want to put the VST that you most commonly use, so that you can just get started making music right away. You don't have to worry about the plugging and chugging of tracks and VSTs. Now, the one thing, I don't put VSTs on every single track because I don't want things to become too much of a resource hog right from the very beginning. So I only have the first two tracks of guitars that have a VST, and typically only the first iteration of a specific track. So the first key track, I'm only going to have a VST loaded for the first one. Same thing for the synth. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. For bass, I always have easy bass because I typically use a lot of analog bass in my tracks, but I always reserve a second one in case I want to add some synth bass. And then drums, I like to get started right away with a drum beat. I don't like to do a lot of production and sound design real fast, so I'll just put in a instance of Addictive Drums just to throw in a drum beat. Now, there's a reasonable chance that the drums that I use in the final production of whatever song I'm working on won't have any acoustic drums at all, but this at least gives me a decent beat to work with while I'm working on the writing process. And then I just have a bunch of different sample tracks for me to drag over my splice samples. Now, looking at the vocals, one thing also is I created a template essentially for starting vocals. So I have a very, very simple vocal chain on the insert of my vocal channel. And so again, this gives me a big head start so that when I record vocals, I don't have to worry about dragging around all the different effects that I need. It's all right here and ready to go. So basically for this, since I am in a noisy room and my room is not treated, I have denoise, I have waves real time or waves tune real time because I just don't really want to pay for the real auto tune, and this works pretty well. And then CLA vocals, which is like amazing. If you don't have CLA vocals, just get it. It is so freaking good. Okay, so then I have that. Now I could add a lot of other different effects, but again, I don't want things to become real resource heavy right now. So those are really the three that can at least get a good sound right from the very beginning. So we have all of the tracks here. They're all color coded. They have VSTs. The one other thing that I like to do is I like to add a couple bus channels. Usually when I do my reverbs or my delays, I will do them on ascend. So like for my vocals, I'll typically will not put the reverbs and delays on the inserts, but I'll have them go on the send channel. And so I'll add that here. And so I have a reverb bus channel. And so on that, I literally just have my instance of Vintage Verb, which is an amazing reverb. And then for the delay, I don't have like a real awesome delay, but I just use the stock PreSonus analog delay, which works really well. At some point, I would like to get Echo Boy, but maybe when it goes on sale again. Anyway, so that's pretty much what I have for that. So this really helps me hit the ground running. So now if I feel like I want a guitar, I have everything that I need already prepared. All I have to do is pick up my guitar and start playing. Same thing with synths, drums, it doesn't really matter. This really makes things incredibly streamlined and much more efficient when it comes to writing your song. So I hope that this has been useful for you, and definitely try this. Go into your DAW, it's gonna work a little bit differently. Oh, the one thing that I didn't show is that obviously when you create this, you're going to want to actually save this as a template. You don't want to save this as a song, or you could rather, but on Studio One, there's an option to save as a template, and so that's when you would write in whatever it is you want, and then you can just hit OK and it saves it. And then what's nice, at least with Studio One, is that if you want to update that, you can save this as a template and then you can replace existing. So if you have a template that you want to modify, you can replace that. I assume most DAWs have that ability. You just have to figure out how to do it. But if you use Studio One, then this is exactly how you do it. All right, so I hope that you have found this video to be helpful. Definitely give this a try. Start creating a template. You'd be surprised how much of a head start that's going to give you when it comes to writing songs. All right, and if you like this, definitely check out this other video because you may find it just as helpful. All right, I will see you in the next video.